Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to again talk to you about the Baker Act and go through some of the sort of typical questions or objections or requests that we get with regards to the Baker Act from families who have a loved one who has been detained and now they're dealing with the incredibly frustrating process of how do they navigate this thing? What do they do? Who do they speak to? How do they get their loved one home? So let me try and answer some of these questions, and if there's something I've missed, let me know. Put it in the comments to the video, and of course I usually respond within about a day, so, and maybe sometime sooner. Okay, let me just go through these. How long does it take to get somebody out? Based on, I think it's over 800, maybe 900 cases now that we have filed, it typically takes about 1 to 2 days to get somebody out. That's the average time. Sometimes it can be the same day, okay? Sometimes we file the case, which means it is filed with the court, not with the facility, but with the court. And the facility just says, okay, we're not dealing with this. Just let this person go, right? We've got 100 people in here. We'll just let one go. We'll keep the other 99. But sometimes the facility will decide to fight, okay? And if they decide to fight, yeah, this could drag on 4 or 5 days before we can get a hearing in front of the judge. And if they have filed to keep your loved one, see, they can go to court too to extend this thing, potentially up to 6 months. Then the court may say, well, there's already a hearing, Mr. Astor, I'll see you then, okay? And there's no way for me to know if they have filed because this stuff's so confidential. The way we find out is once we file our case, then typically what happens is the clerk of the court or sometimes the court itself will say, Mr. Astor, they have already filed, okay? There's going to be a hearing and, you know, we'll deal with everything all in one go, okay? Now, that doesn't mean to say the facility won't let the person go after they read our petition, but, you know, that's why it could drag on 4 or 5 days. But the average time is 1 to 2 days. In fact, when you get the retainer agreement, it's going to say 1 to 5 days, because that's what we typically know to be the window. Can I call the facility? No. Okay, I cannot call the facility, primarily because it's a waste of time, and 2, because now we've tipped our hand, right? They now know I'm coming, and they're going to start documenting the file to make it look like your loved one met criteria, even if they didn't. Yeah, I know, it's hard to believe. They're going to lie. I know. Incredible, right? But it happens. So no, I'm not going to call the facility. Can I write them a nasty letter? I'm not going to do that either. Again, it's a waste of time. I'm going to tip my hand. And, you know, I've heard of stories of other lawyers, you know, writing nasty letters. Again, I don't understand why they do that, but I know what I do because I know what works. And I know that that's a waste of time. And again, it's just tipping your hand. Can I threaten to sue the facility? No. And there's 2 reasons for that. And this ties into the second part of this, which is because if your loved one's been Baker Act, doesn't mean you're getting money. Okay, the facility, even though they are private and for profit, typically, is an agent. They're licensed as an agent of the state's mental health system. So in effect, it's the state of Florida that has taken your loved one. That's what the Baker Act is. It's a statute that says the state can take and grab and control your loved one and take their freedom away, which is why the doors are locked and you can't get them out because it's the state, right? So this facility is just like the local county jail, except that's the mental health system and the jail is the criminal system. So as a result of being a state agent, as a general rule, you can't sue them. They have sovereign immunity. You're not getting any money, which is why, you know, just today I had a call from somebody who said, I'd hire you, but only if you can guarantee me I'm getting any money. First of all, I'm not allowed to make a guarantee. No lawyer anywhere in the state is allowed to do that. It's a violation of bar rules and probably get you disciplined. But more importantly, I'm not going to make that threat because I know it's not true. And they know it's not true. They know they have immunity, okay? So as a general rule, you're not getting any money. So I'm not wasting time sending them a nasty letter saying I'm going to sue them. Now, there's an exception to that, which is that they do have a duty to keep you safe. So I had a woman that was sexually assaulted. I had a guy that was beaten up. That's different. It's not a violation of the statute, right? It's a negligence claim, right? Because they do have a duty to keep you safe. Even if they hold you illegally, they still have to keep you safe. And if they breach that duty and you have, you know, documented physical injuries, and I mean more than a bruise, I'm talking broken bones and things of that nature, then yeah, then you might have a claim. Somebody says, well, what is the facility or the hospital going to do when you send them the petition? I think there's a couple of options. They might let you go because they just don't want to deal with the aggravation they're about to endure. They might fight. They could fight. Sometimes they do. Not often, but it does happen. Well, the court might just issue an order saying, dear facility, Mr. Astor's right, let him go. Or the court might say, you know, we need to have a hearing on this. I want to hear what the hospital has to say. So I'm going to give them a couple of days to respond. I'll see you in 2 days, Mr. Astor. Or if the facility has already filed, and as I told you, I don't have access to that information because it's confidential, right? In which case there's going to be a hearing set, right? Once the petition for placement is filed by the facility, in which case the judge is going to say, well, Mr. Astor, we're already having a hearing, next Tuesday. I'm not going to set another hearing. We'll just deal with it all at the same time. And by the way, the hearing is required to take place within 5 days of the time they file, right? Remember I said 1 to 5 days, right? That's where the 5 days comes from, because the statute says if the facility decides to file, once they do, the court must have a hearing within 5 days, unless there's some reason that there's a continuance. But as a general rule, it's 5 days. I'm going to call the police, right? And I tie that in with I'm calling the police, I'm calling the state attorney's office, I'm calling DCF, I'm calling my local congressman, I'm calling everybody, right? I'm calling the president. Guess what? None of that stuff's going to make any difference. It's a waste of your time. I'm not poo-pooing you. I'm just trying to tell you what works and what doesn't. And once the state has somebody, their power is absolute, okay? So calling the police, the state attorney's office, DCF, all of that stuff is just a waste of time. And again, now you've tipped your hand that you're going to become adversarial, and they're like, okay, fine, we better document the file so that when we end up in front of a judge, we can say, Judge, this person meets criteria. Here's what happened. They were actively suicidal. They refused medications, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. So I wanted to share this with you. This is just some of the other questions, objections that I see. And look, there's only 2 ways you get out of a Baker Act. They let you go, or you force them to let you go. That's it. There's no in between here, okay? And in my experience, the families that fight as soon as possible get the best result. Does that mean that everybody has to fight? Does that mean that some people who perhaps can't afford a lawyer never get their loved one out? No, some of those people come home. I mean, right, statistically that's likely to happen, but it's a hell of a risk, okay? And again, if you look at my other videos, I've got a bunch of videos out there talking about what I think are the red flags that would indicate that your loved one is not coming home. And I would encourage you to check those out so that you have a general idea of what you're looking at before you even call us. But I wanted you to have this. Let me know what your thoughts are. Post your comments, your questions. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want more of this content about the Marchman Act, the Guardianship, Marchman Act, even the criminal arena, because the 2 worlds cross over, let me know. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.